Hey everybody, King Gooch 13 here, back with another video. This one is kind of special. This one I was tagged in by the great DrMonkeybot, one of my favorite YouTubers. That guy, his videos, I can listen to him talk about books for hours on end. He always likes slightly different stuff than I do, which kind of opens me up to more stuff. So thanks to him for tagging me on this. I've never done a tag video before, so this should be interesting, should be fun. So thanks again. Yeah, so this is the 4 creators tag video. So basically, we're supposed to talk about the 4 creators that got us into comics, and got us to start reading comics and continue reading comics. That's kind of the way I took it. So let's go ahead and get started. Little disclaimer: I just moved. As you can see, this isn't the old place I used to be in. New apartment. My collection is kind of stacked in the corner, making it really hard to get at stuff. So I kind of just grabbed a selection of these 4 creators. I didn't grab necessarily my favorite of their books, although these are all really great books. So yeah, I probably would have pulled something different if I was able to get at everything, but I'm very unorganized right now. So first off, the reason I first got into comics was I started getting, like, 2010-ish, I started getting into listening to a lot of podcasts. I started hearing more and more about comics on these podcasts. I would listen to them, and they would all talk about comic books and how great they were. And around in 2007, my daughter was born. So I had been a musician. I was playing out every night. I was going out every night. And then when my daughter was born, I started spending a lot more time at home. My wife at the time was working overnight, and I was working days, so I would spend my evenings at home with my daughter. So I kind of needed something to pass the time. And I started hearing people talking about comic books, and I thought, this sounds pretty cool. I think I'll check this out. And I'm glad I did. One of the books that I heard talked about the most and recommended the most on the podcast I was listening to was Preacher. So I'm lucky living in Omaha. We have 4 or 5 really great comic shops. But at the time, I only knew about one of them. I had gone to it one time with a friend who was going to buy some comics. So, it kept getting in my mind that I should check out comics. So I went and bought this book. It's Volume 1, Going to Texas. Volume 1 of Preacher. I think I read this in like 2 days. And I was hooked. So my first creator that got me into comics was definitely Garth Ennis. That little Irishman he's got a crazy, twisted mind, but he's also got a lot of heart, and the way he writes, everything is fantastical, but you can see the human side of it too. Even when he's talking about gods and demons and the struggle of good and evil, you can still see the human level of everything too. So I read this in like 2 days, went and bought all the rest of the volumes. I've since started collecting the single issues. If you saw my Where You Been Gooch video I did like a week ago, I think, I got Preacher #1. So that's really exciting. Some of the other stuff Garth Ennis has done is that I've really enjoyed is his Punisher Max stuff. Also with Steve Dillon, the same guy that did art on Preacher. I would say that's the best Punisher that I've ever read is Garth Ennis's Punisher Max. Steve Dillon gets a lot of crap. He's for whatever reason his art just really fits with Garth Ennis's writing to me. It's a pretty perfect balance. His art in Preacher it's perfect. Some other stuff he's done, The Boys, pretty out there, pretty crazy, pretty raunchy at times, but just a really funny, fun at times, creepy at times kind of book about superheroes and people that hunt superheroes, basically. Hitman's another one, kind of in that same vein. Really enjoyed it. That's a DC book. He interacts with Batman. I just really love that run. So yeah, Garth Ennis. Also does even crazier stuff like Crossed. Sometimes Crossed can be a little hard to stomach, but yeah, that's about all I'm going to say about Crossed. So yeah, #1, Garth Ennis. Then, I started kind of feeling around to seeing what else was out there. I'd always loved Batman. Batman was always something I enjoyed. I really loved the Batman movies. I think the 1989 movie, like it was for a lot of us, was just a huge, huge thing for me. The cultural phenomenon of the 1989 Burton Batman movie. So I thought, maybe I should go out and see what's going on with Batman. And around that time, the New 52 launched, and it was kind of perfect. I was able to jump on with brand new #1s with all these DC characters, and I've always leaned towards DC, Batman, Green Arrow, all those kind of guys. That Green Lantern. Those have always been a little closer to my heart. There's a lot of Marvel characters I love too, and a lot of great Marvel books. But DC has kind of always been in my heart, So my second creator, Scott Snyder. I think he's probably going to be on a lot of these videos. This dude is amazing. The way he was able to take over Batman and write him with such a different voice. This is the Black Mirror. He wrote Detective Comics at the end of Detective Volume 1, and then he took over Batman for Volume 2 for the New 52. The ideas he has for Batman, the voice he gives Batman, the voice he gives the Joker, just mesmerized me, I guess. He's insanely good. I've had the pleasure of meeting him twice. Really, really great guy. As you see here, that's autograph right there. Really, really nice guy. But even if he was the biggest dick in the world, his writing speaks for itself. He's a big reason that I kept reading. The guy's a rock star. What can I say? Some of the other great stuff he's done, his New 52 Swamp Thing. it really changed that character for me too. I love the old Swamp Thing, the Alan Moore stuff, and you know, of course, the Bernie Wrightson and art back in the day. But he really changed up the voice of Swamp Thing. Also, he's very good at giving a character a new, fresh voice, which is amazing. So yeah, Severed. If you haven't read Severed, it's probably the creepiest horror comic book I've ever read. It's the only book I can ever remember getting the willies from while reading it. It's a creepy book. He did The Wake, American Vampire, and now he's doing Witches. And those are all really great books also. So check those out. Not that you don't know who Scott Snyder is. Everybody does. My next guy is Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron, as far as I'm concerned, is the finest writer in comics today. He is able to put a different spin on old characters. He's able to create amazing new universes. Everything he writes feels real. He's I don't know if he's got magic powers or what it is, but when I read a Jason Aaron book, I fall into that Jason Aaron book, and it's like I'm immersed in the world that he creates. Scalped might be my favorite series I've ever read from beginning to end. It's so gritty, it's so dark at times, but it's it feels real. And he's not a guy, I don't believe he grew up on an Indian reservation. He's from Kansas City, but somehow he was able to grab that and make it a real world. It felt like. I'm bummed that series is over, but that's given him room to do new things, which is very exciting. Also, his work on Thor: God of Thunder was such a different look at Thor. The three Thors, the God Butcher stuff. To me, it's instant classic stuff. As far as I'm concerned, that's one of the books that in 20 years people will still be talking about. He did a great run on Punisher Max. I really loved like the Kingpin run. I think he ended Punisher Max, and just great stuff. I think, I said Garth Ennis wrote my favorite Punisher. Jason Aaron is my second favorite Punisher. Southern Bastards, which is going on right now, is such a different world. I feel like when I'm reading it, I'm growing up, I'm living in Arkansas, and I'm surrounded by all these crazy redneck, scary people. I feel uneasy when I read that book. There's tension in it, and that's something I love. He did Thanos Rising, which I thought was brilliant. Such a different take on Thanos, showing him, that first issue when he's a baby and a child, and the series as he's growing up. That's stuff we hadn't seen before, and it's as if that has always existed now, which is amazing. And finally, right now he's writing Star Wars, which I'm not a Star Wars fan. I don't like the Star Wars movies. I get bored by the Star Wars movies. It's not my thing. I'm not a space guy. I see why people like them. I respect that people like them, but it's just not my thing. But the Star Wars series has gotten me hooked. I love it. You know, the way he introduces Darth Vader in that, and just the dialogue in there, it's so entertaining, so captivating. I will read everything Jason Aaron writes until he proves me wrong. I have yet to read a Jason Aaron book that I didn't like. He could start writing My Little Pony and I would read it. He'd make me a brony. And finally, I showed this earlier, but I got it out also because of the artist on this. If you see there, that is the Joker from Batman 880. No, Detective Comics 880. It's my favorite cover of all time. I own 2 copies of it, plus this. I have a CGC copy. I own two CGC books total, and that's one of them. And Jock, when I first read, I can't remember if I read The Black Mirror first or if I read Green Arrow Year One first. But the grittiness of his artwork and just the way he conveys things visually is stunning to me. He did a lot of the Detective Comics covers. He did the interior art for some of the detective stuff, including the Black Mirror story arc. The only problem I have with Jock is I wish he did more. For a while, it seems like he's been pretty much a cover artist, and that's about it. I need more interiors from Jock. He's opened the door for me to really enjoy comic art. He's led me to people like Francisco Francavilla, different artists like that. He did all the covers or most of the covers. He might have done all of them for Scalped also. It's hard to find things to say about Jock. Jock is so different than the majority of the artwork out there. He's working on Witches right now with Scott Snyder, and they talk about the process he goes through where he's washing his art with different stuff to give it a weird flushed appearance and that sort of thing. He thinks outside the box. He creates things that I've never seen before, and Jock he's a step above so many other artists. He's it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, that if I want dark gritty art, it's going to be Jock. When I see a cover with Jock doing the cover, most of the time I buy him, even if he's not involved in the book at all in any other way. I just love that guy's art. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, that's my 4 creators. Sorry I blabbed on and on and on. I planned on this being a very short video. Didn't work that way, guys. So it's a tag video. So I'm gonna tag. I think I'm gonna tag 3 people. The first one is let's tag 4. First one is Running with Comics. Scott's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's one of the most prolific YouTubers. He's constantly putting out videos. I really like that lately. He's been doing music, doing original songs and that sort of thing. I think that's super cool. Yeah, so Scott, coming at you. The Dark Nate 40. Nate, he's got kind of a different sensibility when it comes to books than I do. So much like I said with DrMonkeybot, he's oftentimes shown me stuff that I hadn't thought about looking for. So yeah, Nate, check out his channel too. And let's hear your 4 creators. The Incredible CJ. I want to hear your 4 creators. He and I started on YouTube right around the same time. Just a great guy. Always entertaining. These first 3 guys that I mentioned used to do a show called Four Guys One Show with Frank, who I don't think is around anymore. But 3 of my favorite people ever on YouTube. I used to talk to them quite a bit, and now that I'm back, I'm hoping to talk to them quite a bit more again. And then finally, the Comic Book Lowdown. Wellington, he's a great YouTuber also. He makes a ton of videos. I actually just found this morning he did like a year ago, I think, or maybe even more, he did a contest entry for somebody's contest, and he did a King Gooch 13 variant edition where he acted like me. It was pretty funny. So yeah, Wellington, another one of my favorites. And I look through their channels. I don't think these 4 guys have done this. So 4 creators, those 4 guys. Let's see them. The gauntlet is thrown. All right, guys. I'm gonna go pick up some books today, so I might have a haul today. And if not, happy Valentine's Day. I'll catch you on the flip. Thanks again, DrMonkeybot.